Hi guys, and welcome to my review of The Long Walk. This is a movie based on a Stephen King novel, and it was a movie that essentially I had been anticipating for quite some time. Number one, because I am a big Stephen King fan, but also because I had heard quite a bit of positive buzz about this, coming from various indie film festivals and whatnot. Yeah, this movie essentially it takes place in a dystopian America where there's this essentially this totalitarian state. And it's basically the citizens are essentially living in poverty. They're quite desperate. So annually they run this lottery where a group of citizens are handpicked from each state to take place in this never-ending walk. We have a military following them behind on this walk. And they are essentially forced to continue and persevere with this walk, keeping the pace of over 3 miles an hour. If they drop below 3 miles an hour, they're given 2 warnings, and then if they get a third warning, they are executed. And this is a movie that I felt like this movie kind of like hit me kind of hard on quite an emotional level. It is, like I said, it's based on the Stephen King novel, but it is I would put it more in the camp of Stephen King adaptations that are along with, say, The Shawshank Redemption or The Green Mile or Stand By Me. It is one of those that's more focused on obviously there is a lot of horror in this movie, there's a very much a shifted focus on humanity, and kind of a brotherhood and the camaraderie and all of that. We essentially see this, especially in with our main character, main character Garrity, who is he essentially we have him partnered with Peter, played by David Johnson, who we had seen in Alien Romulus, and yeah, the kind of the brotherhood or camaraderie that these two characters form is kind of like becomes a beating heart of this movie. It's a movie where I think everyone does a really good job. Judy Greer, who plays Garrity's mum, we only really see her a couple of times. Once at the beginning of the movie, where she's saying her farewells to her son, and then she pops up briefly, like by 2/3 of the way through. But so she's on screen for a very limited time, but even with that limited time, she delivers arguably the best performance I've ever seen her. The desperation, the heartbreak, that you would feel as a mother, watching their son go through this ordeal is just it's just such an effective performance. I think everyone, the entire cast and crew does a really good job. I think one of the things that really helps this sort of togetherness and camaraderie shine through as well is apparently this film was shot in sequential order, so that's quite a rare thing for a film to do. Normally they are kind of shot as and when, just because of various constraints with locations or whatever, or budgeting or whatever it is. There's a million and one factors that can kind of mean that the film has to be shot kind of as and when and kind of like out of order, and it all gets kind of put back together in the editing room. time. This was apparently shot in like sequential order, so I could obviously I don't know. I'm only reading between the lines here, but I can imagine that a kind of a setup and a production like that would just create that very natural environment where you have your cast and crew coming together on the first day on set, and then they're just kind of together, and you start where they're just kind of starting to work together, and then obviously as the production goes on, then you feel this kind of more of a rapport, and one's kind of developing. Yeah, you really feel that you have Mark Hamill in this movie, who I didn't even know was in this movie whilst I was watching it. It was only until after I had seen it I realised that the Sergeant Major, who's kind of like really the real kind of antagonist of this movie, is kind of yeah, I didn't realize at the time that it was Mark Hamill, so it kind of like a transformative performance there as well, I guess. Yeah, I think one of the things that really hits home about this is the universal concepts that this film and this story encompasses as well. That idea of being in this state of kind of desperation, and so being literally having to kind of put your life on the line and lie it all on the line for the sake of your family, and to provide a better future for your family, and and all of this camaraderie and brotherhood, and all of these different you have all these groups of people from different walks of life, and they're all brought together, but they're all put on this very equal footing where they're all in the same position, and you see those who are kind of very much want to form that kind of brotherhood and that kinship, and you have all the other people who are kind of like, should be all, there can only be one winner, and therefore they should all be so then there can only be one winner at the end of a walk to get this big prize money, and so there can be, so it's every kind of person for themselves, and yeah, there's just so many kind of like universal societal and political themes going on in this movie that I think it has a lot of depth, it has a lot of heart. I think there's even stuff in this movie that I feel like I haven't picked up on myself, and will probably pick up on maybe more on the multiple viewings. I do feel like this is just one of those movies where I feel like it is it like I said, it feels like there's always this danger with an idea like this, where you don't want obviously it to be just these kind of people walking, and that's not really obviously what this movie is. The way that it's executed, the way that it's certainly not going to be to everyone's cup of tea, because as I said, it is there's not a lot of it's not a typical horror movie in the sense that there's not always carnage, candy and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot of kind of like humanity, there's a lot of it's a very dialogue driven movie, and you have this and yeah, you just have this horror very much literally kind of looming over the shoulders of these people, and you have this set up with this movie where where straight out of the gate you have your bunch of characters that you gravitate towards. There's other characters in here who you're just like, these guys are just total assholes, so I kind of like can't wait for them to get executed. But as this movie goes on, it turns into something different. It's becomes so gritty. It becomes so horrific that your perspective change. You lose that mindset, and suddenly you just kind of feel very, for those asshole characters who you didn't feel anything for the beginning of the film, you start to feel differently about it. And yeah, just as you are as you watch this film and this story unfold, it like I said, it really kind of hits home. Just it really I would say that it's a little bit premature to say at this point, but I feel like I can't think of a movie this year that I've seen, at least in the cinematic release, that I've seen that's emotionally hit me this hard. This may be a contender. Like I said, this is a little bit premature at the minute, but this is a contender for one of my top movies of the year. So yeah, absolutely. And again, just going back to what I was saying about it not necessarily being everyone's cup of tea. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but this is, like I said, it's taking place on this very long, endless deal walk, so it's kind of like in the open, but it's very confined as well. Also, it's just you're very much just following these people. It's very kind of like one note, in a sense. You're just following these group of people on this walk, and that's it. And you are just kind of, and it really takes a special skill, I think, to kind of just have a setup like that's very dialogue driven, and still keep the audience really engaged in it. I think is just a real testament to the writing of this movie. And yeah, I just feel, like I said, because although it's being taken place in the open, it's also very confined. And I just, as I've said on previous reviews, I just personally really like that type of movie. There's other people who are, but for me, this movie just really kind of delivered. A lot on what I kind of wanted. It ended up being everything and more that I wanted from this adaptation. Yeah, I would absolutely recommend you guys checking it out. It is now on their digital release. And yeah, I would recommend you guys certainly checking it out, especially if you're more of a Stephen King fan that's geared more towards more emotional stuff. Like I said, like Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, Stand By Me, those types of films. I think you're going to really enjoy this movie. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you like this video and you want to see more, don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this movie if you've seen it. And until next time, I will see you guys on the next video.